Hello everyone, what I have here is a remote control directional airsoft mine. It is made completely out of the off-the-shelf components that you can buy on the AliExpress. Build cost is about 20 euros including Arduino, servo, battery, charger and all of the small components. Compared to the standard airsoft mine like Claymore, this one is much more compact. It will fit into standard double N4 magazine pouch. It can use a wide variety of standard 4mm grenades. So far I tested only green gas grenade, but it should work also with the CO2 grenades. On the front there is a peer sensor that you can remotely activate and deactivate. The lens of the peer sensor is also a status indication. Behind there is a red and green LED. On the back there is a USB-C connector for charging of the internal battery. There is also status indication for the charging. In the center there is a plunger that triggers the grenade, and below there is a safety which is also on switch. To turn the mine on, all you need to do is prime the plunger until it clicks in the upward position and then disengage safety. After that, green LED should start blinking slowly. This means the mine is on, but the peer sensor is not yet active. In this state, you can trigger the mine via the remote. To activate the motion sensor, you have to send activation signal. After that, the red LED will start flashing. After a couple seconds, the red LED will start flashing slowly, which means the motion sensor is active. The transition from activation to active state can happen only if there is no motion detected. If you want to deactivate the motion sensor, you can send the deactivation code or just simply trigger the mine with no motion. It will turn off automatically. To turn the mine off, you can just flip on the safety, but it is always better to disengage the plunger to relieve the tension from the spring. If you want to take the grenade off, you need to unfasten the screws and then pull the grenade out. Here I have electronics of the mine and different types of transmitters. As you can see, the electronic is very simple. To test the functionality, you can solder components directly to the Arduino board like I did here. In the final assembly, you will need to use extension wires for the LED and for the peak sensor, and also you have to wire the power switch and the battery connector. I prepared configuration and tested the program for two Arduinos, Arduino Pro Micro and Arduino Nano version 3. I tested a bunch of transmitters. Some of them are learning types like these two, so you need original constant code transmitter to teach them, or use Arduino with the transmitter module for this. The other three are constant code transmitters, and they have really benefit that you can do button combinations. So if you have two buttons, then you can use one button for activating the motion sensor, second for the deactivation, and if you press both of them, you can configure it as a trigger, for example. The other possibility is to use this M57 clocker. Here you can fit different kinds of transmitters inside. Now I will show you how you can configure the Arduino and pair it to any transmitter. For this, you need to open Arduino sketch file that is included in a zip package. First, you need to install the RC switch library. You can do it with the library manager on the left side. Just search for RC switch and install the library. You do not need to do any modifications to the main sketch file. All you need to modify is a configuration file. If you try to compile the code at this stage, you will get error that the mapping is not defined. To define mapping, open the config file and uncomment one of the predefined configuration. So in my case, I'm using the Arduino Pro Micro with the default mapping, so I need to uncomment this line. Next, you need to set the COM port and Arduino type. So in my case, it is COM14. You will have a different number. And for some reason, I need to use the Arduino Leonardo, but it is the same microcontroller. Now you can upload the sketch, and to test if the program works, all you need to do is open a serial monitor, set the baud rate 19200 and send any code from transmitter. As you can see, the codes are starting to show up. To register the code, you need to just copy and paste this code from the console to the appropriate part of the configuration file. So in this case, I will register the first one as a ARM code, the second as a disarm code, and the combination of both buttons as a trigger. Now when I try to send the same codes, I should get different response that the code is already registered. You can do this in the same way for any kind of a transmitter. In the configuration file, you can do also adjustments. For example, if you have a different type of Arduino, you can create a new section with different mapping. Also, you can adjust the times and, for example, brightness of the LED, peer startup and arm time, and also the way how the LED is blinking for different modes. To assemble the base, we will need following parts: the 3D printed things, micro switch, I already soldered the cables, torsion spring, original screws from the servo, then 4 screws 2.6 by 6, some small springs, then 2mm ball and M3 by 12 screw. So we will start with fitting in the switch into the base thing. So to fit the cable, there is a channel inside, and you have multiple options how to fit the cable. So you can first fit the cable through the bottom and then solder the cable to the switch, or you can already solder the cables and fit another one through the channel like this. It should come out quite easily. And then you can solder the cables to the end and fish it back out. Like so. So the switch should be flat after that, just the arm should stick out. Like so. Okay, so the next we will install the safety. For the safety we will need one small spring, and this spring goes to the hole closer to the edge. After that we will fit one of the balls. This is the tricky part, so do not let the ball go out, and then install it directly above the switch. Okay, and push it down. To secure the safety, we will take a piece of filament and fit it through the hole. You can help yourself with the pliers. Okay, now snip out the rest of the filament, and you can finish this with the X-Acto knife. Okay, next is the plunger. So for the plunger we will need this 3D printed part, then a torsion spring. I already cut the legs to the right dimensions. And first you need to install the spring guide, and then longer legs goes inside of the plunger, and the short should align with the hole in the base. I will lift the safety like so, and now again take a piece of filament, guide it through all the way. Okay. The next thing is a servo guide. This goes from the other side and is secured by these small screws. It's quite a tricky part if you do not have magnetic screwdriver. Okay, like so. Now you can install the catch. The catch should move very easily inside. Okay, inside the catch there is a hole. Use the other spring, push it inside and secure it again like so. Again we have to secure it with the screws. Like so. Now this is basically complete. We just need to fit the servo, but we need to check the functionality. So if you take the plunger, it should catch, and if you pull this, the spring is misaligned, so I will correct this. So the spring should be perpendicular to the upper part. Okay, and when you pull this, then it should trigger basically. Okay, when this is installed, we can fit in the servo. I have this electronic here. the servo is already aligned and paired, and when I press the trigger, the servo is moving. So we need to fit it in a way that when the servo moves, it will move the catch like so. And now just secure with the last piece of screws. Okay, and the last thing to do is to fit in the last screw, and this one should go as deep. I will show you in a minute. So do not screw this all the way. Engage the safety, so this piece down. And now the screws should be completely flat. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, now for me it is completely flat. When the safety is off, if I trigger this via remote, the servo should engage the latch, and that's basically it. And the screw is maybe 3 millimeters out. To finish the build, you will need the rest of the 3D printed parts, then again some screws, piece of a clear filament, then a peer sensor and 3 millimeter green and red LED, then the charger and the battery. I already soldered these together. So you can start with the battery and the top and just insert the charger inside and fit it the battery. You can secure the battery with a double-sided tape. And to finish the top, we will need a piece of clear filament which goes in the hole. You should have just one. This is my test piece. And to test how deep you need to go, you can insert the USB cable and just insert this filament as deep that the filament starts shining red. Maybe it is not so visible on the camera, but if I move this, then the light changes. So you can pick the most red, then trim it and secure it with the glue. For the shell, we can start with the legs. So legs should go this way, and they are secured with these types of screws. So one goes from the up, one from the bottom. You can also use thread lock to secure them. And then the legs should be quite firm, but if you lift it up, it should move like that. If you do not secure it with a thread lock, then they will come loose after few usage. Okay, so the peer sensor should go to the front. There is a spacer for this. The LED goes into this groove. You should have two in the final version, so you can choose from left or right side. And this you can also glue in the LED, and this should go inside the hole. I will left out the LED for now, and you can secure it with the screws. You should have also bracket at the back side if this comes loose. I don't have this part printed yet. And then finally you can assemble the last piece. So here is the electronic. You should have these two LED and pure sensor on the extension cables to fit to the bracket, but I will do it just like here now. So this is the final assembling. You will pop in the servo, and you can secure it with the 4 screws at the sides. But first you should insert the top piece, because then it will not fit in. So you should obviously connect the battery to the electronics first, but I don't have this yet. I will just show you the final assembly. So here are 4 screws. And that's basically it, with just a leg. This should be it.